Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 17th of September 2022. And for the first time in about 17 months, I am not attending the latest London shopping trip, which is happening this afternoon pretty much as I speak. Now, I debated with myself pretty much all week whether I should go along to that or not, and I've come down against it for a few reasons. First of all, London is going to be absolutely rammed. The trains are going to be packed, both going up there and coming back, especially as it's a nice day. And I don't really do crowds at the best of times, let alone for all of that sort of stuff going on. Unless it's a shopping trip, of course. Don't mind a bit of a crowd then. But the other reason, and a viewer kind of pointed this out to me and echoed my thoughts, and they said that really the shopping trip today should have been postponed because you've got all the Queen stuff happening all weekend, and of course on Monday up in London there. And people, all the people up there, all the sort of royalists going up there for the Queen stuff, if they see a group of people with placards and doing speeches and marching around, they're just going to automatically assume that they're anti-royalists or at least being disrespectful. And I just think, although I don't care about the Queen at all, as you know, I just think we're trying to get on the side of normies, trying to get them to wake up and see how bad things like the V is, and how bad any future lockdowns would be, etc. So the last thing we want to be doing is antagonising them and alienating them in any sort of way. So again, that's another reason why I've stayed away. But also, I'm getting to the stage where I think I'm going to move on from shopping trips. I might go to the one next month, especially if the weather's half decent. Looks like it's going to be half decent. But I'm certainly not going to go after October. And I'm going to move on, I think, perhaps attending small local events like the one I did the other week, the Crawley Superstand, with speakers and other bits and pieces going on. There's things like that happening up and down the country, and it would be nice if maybe I could go to perhaps one a month, just like I was doing with the shopping trips. Go to one of those once a month and offer to do the filming of the speakers for them, which a lot of these places and organisers of these things want people to do anyway, because they're not filmed or sort of recorded very well. So I might turn my hand and my talents to that kind of thing instead, because I don't think the videos I did of the speakers at the Crawley Superstand, they didn't turn out too badly at all, I didn't think. So just to get these people on record, I think would be a good thing. So that, I think, is how I'm going to go in the future. But if you did go today, very well done, and I'm sure it would have been a cracking event. Lovely weather, and I understand there was going to be some superb speakers up there, so hope you had a good time, and sorry I sort of wasn't with you there. As the allotment, I was going to do a video of that, but I haven't got around to doing a video yet, so that's going to have to wait, but that will be forthcoming very shortly. Big bit of news I saw is Alex Bellfield. I'm sure many people watching this have already heard this news, but the guy's been jailed for 5 years, basically for stalking and trolling BBC employees of a few different ones of those that he had a axe to grind against. Now, I'm not so sure. Well, yeah, I think he's pretty well known in other countries as well, but certainly here in the UK, he was very well known amongst people of our ilk. In fact, he was one of the first people I latched onto back in 2020 when I was starting to smell a rat about the whole lurgy situation, the lockdown situation, and I started seeing people on YouTube speaking out and echoing my sentiments about it. Carl Vernon was one, Anna Breeze was another one, and Alex Bellfield was another guy. And because he was an ex-BBC presenter himself, he kind of had that sort of polished sort of presentation style as well. So, but he certainly echoed my thoughts on the lurgy situation. So it's quite shocking to hear that he was sent down. I know a lot of people on our side of the fence are divided about him, and I must say I could only take him in small doses myself. Sometimes I'd sort of like listening to him, and then other times he was a bit over the top really, and I kind of didn't bother. So I only sort of watched him in relatively small doses, not as much as Carl Vernon, but at the sort of depths of my despair back in 2020, Alex Bellfield was a good sort of rock to lean on, I've got to admit, at sometimes anyway. So I don't know the full story about the whole stalking and trolling thing. Apparently the court, the judge, etc., said that he nearly drove one of the people he was stalking to suicide. So obviously that's not great. I don't know how bad the guy was at all of this stalking stuff, but I do think stalking, yeah, it's probably not great if you're on the receiving end of it, but compared to other offences, I would have thought it's a relatively minor one. And yeah, I know it kind of destroys lives, etc., but I wouldn't have said it's as bad as committing the R word, the violent offence I'm talking about, or indeed sort of murder and stuff like that. And as certain Telegram groups, people on my Telegram groups have pointed out, there was a bloke who actually did the R thing to a minor as well, underage person, and there was two guys who beat up someone else so badly that they were put into a coma, and all three of those perpetrators only got very light punishments, kind of suspended sentences. And so I think Alex Bellfield getting 5 years is frankly over the top. But whether the guy deserved to go to prison, maybe if it's as bad as what the judge was saying, maybe he deserved maybe at least a heavy fine, or a bit of a fine, maybe a suspended sentence, or maybe a short custodial sentence. But 5 years does seem over the top to me. And it was quite shocking, really shocking news to hear that. And you do wonder, don't you, was it really about stalking, this prison sentence, or was it the powers that shouldn't be kind of getting back at him for speaking out against their agenda? Yeah, especially when you bear in mind those other three perpetrators I mentioned and their light sentences. It either means there's something hickey going on there, or it means the British legal system is utterly incompetent and ridiculous. But I'll let you choose which you want to go with there. So the last thing I'm going to talk about today is last night, Lorraine and I had a few people around for dinner, the in-laws and others, and all of these other people, apart from Lorraine, are what you'd call normies, I suppose. You know, they've all had all of those, and very much into the BBC and the narrative, etc. And it was okay last night when they weren't talking about anything contentious, but when they started talking about all of the Queen stuff, the funeral and other bits and pieces, I'd had a couple of beers, admittedly, and I did have a few rants here and there. Nothing too bad. I wasn't getting crazy, but I was certainly venting my spleen a little bit. And yeah, because I can't bear it. You know, people go on about mainstream narrative and etc. And I just can't sort of sit there and listen to it without having, you know, a word about it myself, dropping a few truth bombs, venting my spleen a little bit. So I had 3 or 4 little mini rants during the course of the evening, and I know a lot of people have said under my previous videos in the comment section, they seem to sometimes get a bit frustrated with me saying things along the lines of, Tim, how on earth can you just sit there and talk about all of this stuff so calmly when I'm absolutely angry and incensed about everything that's been going on in the last 2.5, 3 years? And my answer to that would be, I might appear calm and collected on here, and I do sort of regard my role with these videos as perhaps being a source of comfort and calm and helping like-minded people through this, and generally putting a positive vibe as much as I can out into the world. And that's what I like to do, but it is also a lightning rod. These videos are my lightning rod for my anger and frustration, because believe you me, I have been very angry, very frustrated, and very just, I don't know, sometimes almost incandescent with rage about some of this stuff that's been going on. Believe you me, you know, I don't show it very much in these videos, but away from these videos it certainly is there. Not all the time, of course. You can't be angry all of the time. Some would say it's wrong to be angry any of the time, and they've probably got a point there. But I am angry. I just think this whole 3 years has been a nonsense, just so unnecessary. And let's not forget that this time last year there were people up and down the country, including many who should have known better, presenters, the likes of Edwina Curry, Esther Ranson and Alexander O'Neill, and loads of other people up and down the country, both well-known people and ordinary people as well, saying that the unveed should be locked out of society, they should be shunned, they should be put into camps, etc, etc. And had things gone down that route more, well, you know, our futures wouldn't have been very good. So I think we do have a right to be angry, and that should never be forgotten. That's how despicable people were. We are past that now, thankfully, and I think there's many out there who perhaps did feel like that at the time, who are now deeply regretful of feeling like that. That's fair enough. But again, I am still angry about it. I know many people watching this are still angry about it, and it'll be a very long time before that anger subsides, and I will vent my spleen, especially when people start going on about, I don't know, how great the Queen was, or sort of how great the BBC is, or isn't the situation, I don't know, in the country that starts with UK or UKR is, or indeed how they're about to go and get their 10 zillionth thing in the arm there. So yeah, but like you, I have been angry, I'm still angry, and I'm sure I'll be angry for a while yet, and I will continue making these videos. They will be my lightning rod, and as it were, and in calmer moments I will be sort of coming on here and speaking my truth and letting you know my feelings. So I'm gonna leave it there, and I will be back tomorrow. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.